Get him on, Stanners. Come on then, mate.
Hello, Chris.
It is.
Hello, how are we?
I'm alright, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Just situated on the sofa just so I can get a nice view, do you know what I mean? So,
What view have you got then, mate?
just looking at the missus and then the TV, that's it.
Just in case Boris decides to come on early.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. That's what we're living to now, aren't we, Boris? Whenever he's on, what is it, 5 o'clock?
Right.
And then till now.
Every single day, innit? Boris Johnson, we're all waiting for it.
Of course, Tim's joined. Look, Tim's ready, isn't he? Look.
Tim was there sharp. Tim sent me a question as well.
It's only because he's been in both our teams, isn't it? That's why he wants to have a little view.
Yeah, he wants on it, definitely.
But to be fair, though, you said that he was the only goalie you could put in, so that's a bit harsh, isn't it? So
I just couldn't find another keeper.
Yeah. Well, I had a few, but I picked him because he's the best goalie. So that's why.
Tim made a big save at the Euros that he always brings out.
Oh, does he? I haven't seen that one, but I just judged him on what I've seen. So there we go.
So how's the social distancing?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been very tough. Obviously, not really knowing what to do, when to do it, etc., etc. And then obviously with the family as well. So obviously they're going out more than me, and obviously you just hoping, obviously they're going into the right areas and not bringing anything back. So, and then obviously when I go out and do obviously my exercise, and when we've been out for walks and this, that, and the other, it's just making sure you're trying to stay away from people.
Oh, he's back. Yeah, mate, it's definitely that. It's just trying to stay away, try and keep distances. I went out for a dog, and literally when I saw somebody, I literally jumped onto the path, ran, got as much space as I could. Massive.
That's it, yeah. Johnny Dawkins, legend of a man. He's just joined, so I would imagine, Sky Blue Army. He won't like you, Brighty, being a Villa fan, so...
Ooh, I don't want to upset people, but...
No, he'll say it how it is, like he hates Villa, same as myself, so there you go.
Horrible Cov fans, ain't you?
Yeah, there's a few actually. Coppo as well from school. He's from my neck of the woods, another Coventry fan, so just so you know, Coppo, Dorks, Brighty's a Villa fan, so make sure you fire him some questions, please.
Not at the minute. There's not many good ones to answer, mate. We're struggling big time.
But no, I'm sure that they'll fire something over to you. So
brilliant, absolutely
brilliant.
So I've got and literally word full of not just from me. The lads have all chipped in. You've seen some of them on the Euro chat, but some of the boys have messaged me privately as well. So there's some good ones.
Okay. Go on, fire away. Like I said, I'll try and answer as many as I can. So
where we'll kick off and start is with your diagnosis with type 1, because you, as I know, you were diagnosed already as a professional footballer. You were diagnosed when you were at Walsall. So what was that like? What was like just getting you literally just got on your pro? Was it your pro contract or was you? Yeah, you just got.
Yeah, just a pro at Walsall. Yeah.
First pro contract, and then you get diagnosed with type 1 at was 19, wasn't it?
Yeah, 19, yeah, just get into 20, yeah. So it might have been 20, I think, so.
What was that like?
It's difficult because leading up to that, I was in a bad place, you know, physically and I think even mentally I was in a bad place because I weren't feeling great, wasn't playing well, just into the, obviously, just into the second half of the first year as my pro contract and just thinking, obviously, why am I feeling good? Performances were poor, and obviously the levels where I wanted to be weren't there. And at that time, I weren't involved in the first team, like in the match day squads, just training. And obviously, you're trying to impress the manager. So obviously, in the reserve games, then there was no under 23s. There was just reserve games, and obviously playing in them, I was only lasting until 50, 60 minutes, and just coming off with really bad cramps, like the worst cramps I've ever had. And then just basically going to away games on a minibus, weeing in bottles, stuff like that, because there's no toilets on there, and just basically that was it. Really, it was I knew something weren't right, and then the day that I went training, couldn't even run to the 18-yard box without being out of breath. And at that time, luckily, not luckily, but the doctor was in, the club doctor, and went to see him, and he just sort of said like, "Oh, I think you've got diabetes. We'll give you a test in a week or so." So I drove home, stopped off at the garage.
A week? Come on.
Yeah. He said, "Oh, I'll give you a week." So he said because he didn't have no testing kits or something, so he didn't want me to go to Birmingham. He just said, "Next time I'm in, I'll come and see you." So it was basically that, and then got back home. Mum said to us drove back home from Walsall to obviously Bedworth where I live, and next thing you know, speaking to my mum was like, "You're not looking too well. You've heard this story more than anyone." And then basically, it was just go to the doctors and then had all the tests. And my sugars, I think, were like from nearly up to 30. I think around 27, 28. And then next thing you know, I'm in George Eliot Hospital, which obviously the local people who are on the chat at the minute, they'll know where that is. And then
I know where the George Eliot is, mate.
Do you?
I've driven past it, mate. I know where it is.
What are you doing in my neck of the woods, anyway?
Hey, I've worked up your way before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
I thought you might have been there for other reasons, so that would have been interesting.
Nah, not for any good thing.
See. So yeah, so basically that was it. And then for 2 nights, it was like with people on life support machines and stuff like that. So obviously you just think the worst, and then luckily you get not luckily, you get diagnosed as being type 1, and then obviously you get told you can still play football. So that was the main thing that I listened to, and the main thing I was most happy with. So, and then after that, obviously the future, and obviously just wanted to play football, and that's what happened. So, what were
Walsall like with you when you went back?
I think it was difficult because obviously no one really knew how to deal with it. Obviously, I spoke to the manager, and then obviously the doctor got called in, and I think eventually the doctor then left because of what obviously his diagnosis and the practice he did with myself. So in the end, it was difficult. But they just more playing it. They didn't really know. They just said obviously as long as you can control it yourself and leaving it like that, really, that's how it sort of carried on for years, really, that no one really knew what to do. They all just said, "Oh, can you control it all right yourself?" You said, "Yeah." You sort of told them the symptoms, what happens when you're going low. Yeah. Obviously, if you're going high, but obviously there's no real symptoms for going high, really, as you know. And that was it, really. So, yeah, Walsall dealt with it okay. But then in the long run, that first year, after that, then I had to go on loan to play, and obviously that was more or less my Walsall career finished with. So maybe to do with the diet.
Where did you go straight after in that first couple of years when you were just been diagnosed? Where did you go? You were on loan somewhere, then you moved?
I went on loan up Scotland because obviously I was getting no first team action, and at that time I was like 20, 21, so I needed to play because obviously a lot of my friends are playing. A lot of other people that are not playing are playing. Sorry, they're getting game time. I'm not playing in the reserves. Doesn't look like you're going to get into the first team. Whether I was good enough to get in the first team, who knows? Because at that time they were in the Championship. So looking at my career, probably not. I wasn't good enough to do it. So I had to go to Rafe to play, and that was obviously fantastic. Living just outside Edinburgh, playing at Rafe, and then captain as well. I got captain for 6 months, which doesn't happen very often on a loan player. So that was good. And then come back, and then basically because they didn't see enough of us, and it was like, we can't offer you a new deal. So then I went to Telford for a little bit. They went into financial difficulty, and then it was like Hereford, and that's when I started to make obviously a bit of a name for myself.
Yeah. So you've got this like the beginning part where it's challenging and stuff. I want to ask you. We'll go football first. We'll go like down through the football questions.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the diabetes ones after. So the first one is, out of all the clubs that you played for, list them first.
How long you got? It's probably more than an hour, yeah.
There's the challenge first, mate. Can you list all your clubs off the top of your head? Because you've had more.
Who I've played for?
Yeah, more clubs than Tiger Woods.
Yeah, so that's true. Okay.
Start with that one. And then where did you enjoy it the most?
So obviously Walsall was my first professional club. Then Rafe Rovers on loan. Yeah. Then Telford, Hereford, Morecambe,
5,
Torquay on loan for 6 months.
6,
Bristol Rovers.
7,
Then Aldershot.
8,
Then Aldershot was Eastleigh.
9,
No, yeah, Eastleigh. Then it was Lincoln.
10.
10. They were the professional clubs anyway. And then from Lincoln was Barwell.
Yeah.
Then it was Lancaster,
12,
Kettering, Clitheroe.
14.
Oh, sorry, and then I'm missing an Eton Borough, but some of obviously the local Bedworth lads on here, they won't really want me to admit to that, yeah?
Did you play for Southport as well? Or was that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, jeez. Yeah, I was there. I don't know about playing, yeah, but no, that was for my friend Bishop, Andy Bishop. I helped him out for a month. And then because of the situation, because Bish got the sack, probably more down to me. No, I'm not sure if it's down to me, but partly maybe down to me. So Bish went, and then a new manager come in, which happens in football. He didn't really like me as a footballer. Yeah. So then obviously I had to go back to Lincoln, and then obviously then my partner Nikki, she got pregnant. Yeah. And we were going to have our little girl, and obviously it was just deciding then, do I carry on travelling all around the country, or do then I start thinking about the future? And that's how it was really. Barwell was on my door. Obviously I knew the manager. Yeah, it probably wasn't the level I wanted to play at, but I just thought to myself, I haven't got anything to prove to anyone now. So that's how it all sort of materialised from there, really. So that was, I think I haven't missed anyone else now, and have Brighty, to be fair, but cheers for that.
Let's hope not, mate.
No, yeah, I'm sure I'll get a few tweets about this, that, and the other, or messages. But no, that's obviously so far. That's how I've had a few clubs, but you think I've been playing since I've been 16, so 20 years. Yeah, it's a lot of clubs, but I think if you go through a lot of players my age, and who's still playing, that's how it sort of is. And nowadays, the longest I've had at a team was obviously more or less 5 years. Yeah. So that's not really known now, to be honest, and that's just the way the football is. And then what was the other question? Where did I enjoy it the most?
Yeah.
I'll probably say Morecambe was the best 5 years I had. What I achieved, like success-wise, obviously, which we'll get into later, like the 2 promotions, then getting into the playoffs in the League Two as well. But then the best time I probably had was at Torquay. That's where I think I played my best. Where the team, I went there, I think they were mid-table, but everything I did, I played really well. Everything just clicked, every pass forwards, which some people will be surprised by, got sort of made chances. Everything sort of materialised. Everything went well. Living in Torquay when it's sunny, going to the beach most days, just everything was really good. And then that sort of then materialised to get my move to Bristol Rovers, because the manager from Torquay then went to Bristol Rovers, and obviously, and then that's how it sort of materialised. But it sort of went. Going to Torquay was where I think I played my best in a small period of time, but I think over a period of time, Morecambe was the best, where I've sort of been consistent, and that's how I sort of made my name as such, because that was the first. After Hereford was the time where I had consistent period of playing for a long time and achieving a few things, you know.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the lifestyle, moving around?
Did you didn't have much choice. If obviously if there's any other footballers on here, that some players get lucky and can just stay where they're from, or other players you had to move. So I moved from Coventry, obviously went to Scotland, then come back down, went to Hereford, went to Morecambe, went to Bristol, went to like Torquay, then to Bristol, then to Aldershot. So you have to move, and luckily at that time I wasn't. Obviously, if I was settled like I am now with family and stuff, then it could be different. You know, yeah. So at that time I didn't have any commitments. The only commitment I had was my family. So that was it. And they obviously encouraged me to move, go where what I wanted to do. And looking back on it, do I regret any of the moves? Yeah. In footballing terms, yeah, things didn't work out at certain clubs for a few reasons, through my own fault or through other, obviously, new managers coming in. But a lot of it was, I'd never take back what I've done. I achieved a lot, I think, for in my time. And yeah, did I just want to be known playing in League Two and obviously the conference? No, obviously I wanted to try and get to the Premiership, but unfortunately my ability and I wasn't good enough to do that. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, mate, but you still had a pretty good 15 years as a pro. You don't knock that, mate.
No, but obviously as a kid yeah, I played on TV and this, that and the other, but you want to be a top player, like the players in the Premiership and players who play for England, etc. That's where you want to be. But as my youth team manager said, that you'll find your level and that's where you'll stay at, and that's what I sort of did. Yeah, obviously now you're getting older and this, that and the other. Obviously I can't get to them levels, which that's the way it is. But obviously I'll carry on playing however long I can, and then at the end of the day, once I do give a cool time on it, then I know I've done all right. So that's the main thing.
Mm. So you was talking about it a little bit. Where your career was. Where was your highest point then? What was your the level you reached, and you went, you know what, that is maybe my ceiling, or it was the highest point you got to anyway in terms of?
I think obviously the Morecambe promotion was very high, but at that time getting promoted to League Two, you thought then as a footballer maybe you could go higher, maybe do well at League Two like I did, or then maybe get to League One if you could. Then we got to the playoffs with Morecambe and we failed terribly in the playoffs. I think we lost at 5-0 away at Dagenham in the first leg, so you've got no chance of coming back. So at that stage, you sort of think to yourself, are you going to get much opportunities like this? You were hoping you did. I just think on a playing level, Torquay was like I said, that the levels I got to was probably higher than what I ever did. Yeah, I played well and at different clubs, but I think Torquay for the 5 or 6 months I was there was levels I didn't get to after that for whatever reason. I don't know whether that's down to me or is it down to the team I was playing with, the manager, whatever. But I never got to them levels for whatever reason. Like I said, every pass I tried, it got come off. Every time we played, we more or less won, and that's how it sort of got you into that rhythm. But it weren't through the lack of trying and elsewhere, but I could never, for whatever reason, get to the levels I did at Torquay. Yeah, I carried on and playing well at a good level, but I just couldn't. And that summer, once I left Morecambe on loan from Torquay, the amount of interest I had was the most I had at the end of one season compared to any other season. So obviously that shows that within that time, the sort of levels you got to, but I never could get to them levels the other clubs I got to, and I don't know why. Whether that was down to myself, was I training hard enough, was I dedicating myself enough to the game, or was it just one of them things which other footballers on here will tell you that you just go to a club and it clicks, and it just everything you try, it works. And after that, I couldn't get to them levels. If I would have got to them levels like I did at Torquay, then I'm confident I could have played in League One, but I never got to them levels. So that sort of shows that I probably wasn't good enough to play at League One, So that's how it was. And maybe because I was happy off the pitch and I weren't worried about anything and everything was going well and you're winning and you're playing well, then that's all you can sort of ask. But obviously you can think about it. Do I have any regrets after that? No, not really. But you just want to try and get to them levels, and unfortunately, like I just said previously, I couldn't get to them levels,
Yeah, no, we've had the questions, mate. So we've had
here you go, yeah.
Dingy's put on there Glasgow Rangers or Glasgow Celtic.
Oh, here we go. This is going to cause controversy, isn't it?
Cause controversy. I'm going to answer what he wants me to answer.
Okay, so you answer first, and I'll answer second.
Glasgow Rangers.
Okay, Celtic for me. Not particularly for any reason, but whenever I used to watch the Old Firm derbies, when I was younger, for some reason I always wanted Celtic to win.
Oh.
But that's not because I like Rangers. But then I think at that time when I used to watch it, obviously because I'm still only 21, so 20 odd years ago. 20 odd years ago when I used to watch it, it used to be, I think Rangers at that time were probably the more successful team, so I probably wanted Celtic, and then sort of from then it sort of materialised from there that I wanted probably I prefer Celtic, but now Steven Gerrard's there, now I'm sort of going to Rangers. So, but I'm not a proper fan, am I? So
No.
I'll probably say more now. I'm Rangers because obviously.
Have you seen what thing he's put? You're not
Yeah.
in boys, Stanners.
Shut your Celtic fan. Yeah. No mirrors in his house. There's no mirrors in my house. So there you go. But looking at this, my ears do look very big in this live chat. So yeah, I'm struggling.
We've had
I've got a Lego head as well, so I've had to do this before.
Question.
Go on, Ed.
Put it on the screen. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, no, it's good. That's good. Yeah, playing for the fake sort of England team. Yeah, but obviously it was good because at that time I was playing in non-league football, and obviously to play for your country at that sort of level was good. I was captain as well, so that was obviously the main thing. Looking back, yeah, it's a great achievement. You get your England caps there at my mum and dad's house. I think I got 5, so they're at my mum and dad's on the wall. As well as the armband and stuff like that. So yeah, playing for the England C under 23s team, I think it was at the time. It was good. Obviously, an honour to play, honour to be captain, and the sort of players that played in it was George Boyd, Aaron McLean, people like that. They sort of played in it. I'm trying to think. Steve Morrison, who played at Millwall.
Oh yeah.
Players like that. I'm trying to think who else played. There's other good players. I'll probably get in trouble for missing out. Craig Smith, I think, played.
Yeah.
So obviously good player. Yeah, some good players that played. I have missed out a lot, and I can't really remember who I used to play with. So because as you imagine, back to when I was 20 is a long time ago. But we had a lot of good players. So I think Connor Gould just asked the question there, but he knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think we all know the answer to that question. Been in the Diabetes Euro chat, we all know the answer to this question. Have you ever played at Wembley before, Stanners? Do you want to answer?
Just once, that's all.
Just once. How did it go for you, mate?
We won 2-1 Morecambe playoff final, conference playoff final. We won 2-1. Like I said, got headbutted by who was then my captain at Bristol Rovers, Matt Gill. So yeah, it was an eventful game. We was 1-0 down after 20 minutes. And then we come back to win 2-1. What a feeling! What a great day that was! A day that you'll never forget. And in my bedroom, the shirt's above the bed. So obviously something you'll always remember. And yeah, it was a great day. And then obviously the couple of weeks after that was very vague. Couldn't really remember much because obviously a bit of partying, a bit of holidaying, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it was one of the first games after Wembley was built that we played there. I think after the FA Cup final that was on the Saturday was probably one of the, I can't remember who played, but one of the most boringest FA Cup finals. I remember watching it and we were falling asleep watching it as a team. So, but no, yeah, I did play at Wembley, but yeah, I just do it to get people to nibble. Chris, as you well know, I like doing that, and that's why I say that.
Played at Wembley before? Has anyone ever played at Wembley?
No. Just asking for a friend, as you know.
Just asking for a friend. I like that.
Oh, and here's Chris Todd will know, I think, about Wembley as well, who's just joined. He played in the losing Exeter team that we played as well.
Oh, you can't bring that up on here. No,
I'm just saying, just Chris Todd, he's written a book as well, you know, Toddy. Yeah, he's good man, Toddy. But just ask him, he'll know as I'm talking how he got on when he played at Wembley. And he did smash me in that game and got a yellow card as well. So, Toddy, good to see you. I hope you're well, mate. I'm only messing, but unlucky on that game at Wembley. And I played with Toddy at Eastleigh. We used to do no need, look. Yeah, and then we turned out good friends, obviously, at Eastleigh. But then he never wanted to sign me when he was back as manager at Eastleigh. But no, we won't go into that. But no, we used to, after training, we used to stay behind. Toddy's a good lad, and he's had a few, obviously, issues in his career, and that's maybe someone you can talk to about in the future, not regarding diabetes, but other things that Brighty, that he'll be a good person to speak to. Like myself, he might send you to sleep, but he's a good guy, and I hope he's doing all right.
And then we had a statement off Timmy Boy. He's gone up there and said, "Best picture is still you snapping Petrov." You can tell us that story in a second.
Oh, you'll like this because your team actually beat us in an FA Cup game, so you'll be happy with that.
I was going to say, it's probably the only game we've won for a while, mate. So
I didn't like to go on about it, but yeah.
But before you talk to me about that, I was going to ask you about Wembley, because obviously it's a massive day. And joking aside, obviously, and taking the mick, what was managing diabetes like on that day? Because that, you said, I know we take the mic and you're playing in front of 55, 60,000, but we're going, you've got something else going on here in the background. Did it cross your mind? Or did you just try and approach it like you do every other game? Or was there
I just tried to just keep it the same as what it was, kept some normal routines. Obviously, you stayed away for a couple of days before the game. The preparation's different, but still try and have the same meals, try and still have the same amount of fluid, Lucozade, jelly babies, Mars bars, whatever. And obviously just try and keep to the same amounts of insulin. Obviously, it's a lot different now because we've got more technology to test ourselves. But it was more at them stages when I was playing, I never took any insulin at half time before the game. It was just at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock when I had my food, had my injection, and then I was just ready to go. If I felt a bit low during the warm-up or whatever else, then I'd have a bit more Lucozade, a bit more fluid, or a bit more, obviously, Mars bar, banana, etc., etc. But no, I didn't ever really think about it. I was just more worried about winning the game. And obviously after 10, 15 minutes when you're 1-0 down, and then we missed the penalty as well, which obviously ain't good. You just want to win the game. And at the end of the day, the diabetes on that day, I felt all right and didn't cramp up or didn't ever think so, I presume. And I didn't really test afterwards because I felt all right. It was a great day, you know. So, and obviously, I don't think my sugars the next couple of weeks were that good after that. But that's it.
We're allowed.
We're allowed to. But no, it was more wanting to win. I weren't really too fussed about my sugars. I should have been, but I weren't too fussed. I was just more worried about winning the game. And if I had to come off with cramp because I haven't really looked after my sugars, then it would have been one of them. But luckily, I could stay on the pitch, you know.
Yeah. So you just tried to approach it like any other game, and then get in your own mind that it was any other game. But obviously, it wasn't any other game. It was probably. Was it? Would you say it was the biggest game of your career, or was there a bigger one?
Probably. Well, I probably would say that's the biggest. Obviously, the year before I played at Hereford, but obviously it wasn't at Wembley. So, but in the same, obviously the main goal was to get promoted to League Two. So, I think just because of the location of obviously the game and the amount of people that were there watching, that's got to be your biggest game, you know. So,
that makes sense.
No, and luckily we won. That was obviously I lost. I think I played in 4 playoff games and won 2, got to the final and won 2, and then lost 2 in the semi-final. So obviously the losing part wasn't very good, but the winning part, obviously, that's what you would want to do every day of the week.
Absolutely, mate. You've had a couple of decent questions there.
Okay.
As written, any plans to go into coaching or change of career like tempting futsal shoes? Do you want to tell anybody about those futsal shoes, or do you want to keep that one quiet?
No, I know, but I don't know if the person who gave me the shoes is on here. Do you know what I mean? So I might have to be careful what he said. But no, Ben will know there's a company up in Lancaster that I'm not going to say the name, provided me with some futsal trainers. But to be fair, they're probably the best shoes I've ever worn. So probably would have been better on a night out, better than the trainers I used to wear. Because obviously, as a few people on here will know, my gear probably ain't the best, or they'll say it's not the best. So at the end of the day, I got given these free trainers, me being a tight ass as well. I thought I'd wear them, but within the space of 10 minutes, I knew they weren't for me. So I had to borrow someone else's, and I did leave them in the bin, and then I had to message the man saying, because he asked me how they were, and I said they're probably the worst pair of trainers, football trainers I ever wore. So yeah, so that went down really well. And obviously, I've never dealt with a person before, but it's one of them. Ben will know because one of his ex-teammates is sponsored by the company. So we'll just leave it at that. But no, I won't be wearing one of them. And obviously, after that, as you know, Brighty, that I didn't come to many futsal training after that. So maybe that was the reason, you know.
Then you've had another time. What are you missing more during lockdown, Stanners? And it looks like a football or horse racing.
The horse racing's still going, as you well know. So yeah, there's still a few little bets going on there.
Yeah, you're doing it right. Still going it, mate.
The missus has just looked at me then and said, "Why are you still betting?" Like so, but no, just a few little small bets here and there. But
you're in trouble, mate. I knew.
Yeah, probably will be in trouble. Yeah, but that's it. But yeah, football, missing the football definitely, and obviously watching a bit more horse racing. So, but cheers for that, Craig. That's always a good question to answer. But I answer it honestly. That's like I said to you, Brighty. I'll answer as well as I can.
Yeah, mate.
And ask him how Dubai's going anyway, because he's messaging from Dubai. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's doing all right for himself, isn't he?
Probably better than we are at the minute, mate.
Yeah. You're living down south. I'm in Lancaster. He's in Dubai. Wait up. I think he's doing all right, isn't he?
I think he's doing better than we are, mate.
Yeah, of course.
We are. I've got a couple more football ones. Then
go on.
A couple more diving.
Then you can open them up. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And then if anybody keep coming with the questions, because they are banter, to be fair. So what about best player you ever played with, and played against? It'll probably go back to, I hope, Stilian Petrov is going to be high.
No, better than Stilian Petrov for me. He played for your team as well.
Yes. Who was this then? Come on.
Paul Merson.
The Magic Merce.
Yeah, Magic Merce, yes. Played against him, and I remember a game in pre-season we played against him. We got the absolute runaround. And then he obviously never used his left foot, did he? So basically outside of the right foot, and he just chipped our goalie, and the ball landed in the stanch. And then all the players just walked back to the halfway line laughing, and he done the same. So, and then played with a lot of good players, but he probably would be up there. People like Fitzroy Simpson as well, great player. I'm trying to think of other players I played with as well. Martin O'Connor as well, people like that who. Obviously back in the day, and even no one would really know of was player manager at Rafe Rovers was Antonio Calderon, Spanish player. And I've told you this story before, that we played a game. I think it was at St Johnston away, and he's megged the player with his outside of his left foot, then megged him again straight after with his inside of his right, obviously, so his inside of his left foot again. And then the lad then tried to 2-foot him and got sent off. And then he just winked at me. He couldn't really speak much English anyway, or Scottish or whatever at that time. And then he was just like, "Did you like that?" And then he just walked off. And I've never laughed so much in a game when someone's just megged a player straight after each other with outside of the left foot and then with the inside of his left foot as well at the same, within the space of 2 touches. It was unbelievable. So they're probably the two, 3, 4 players, best players I've sort of played with as well. But there's been a lot of good players I've played with. So
yeah, I'm not surprised, mate. You've been playing for a while.
Cheers, mate.
Many good ones in there.
And there's some bad ones as well, but we won't go into that, you know.
No shade. We're not throwing shade. There's too much negativity in the world.
No. I'm only messing with you. I'd never do that anyway.
No. Well,
there might be a few on here who think the same about me, Brighty, so there we go. There's a few that will say I played like a crab, sideways, backwards, but there you go.
Well, you had that tweet earlier that talked about, did you see it? When we were doing this? It was like, I don't like the myth that Stanners could only play backwards. And he showed us a forward pass.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I think that got us through to Wembley as well, that did. So, yeah. Well, set up the goal anyway. So, yeah. But no. That was the common thing that I used to get. That I used to play sideways, backwards. But that's the way I got. That's the way I played. That's the way I got told to give the ball to the so-called better players who are supposedly to make things happen. And that's the way it was. When you look on it now, a lot of the teams, and this is not bigging me up, always used to say like, "Oh, we miss you in there. What you used to do, keep it simple." People who know anything about football know that that's what you need in a football team. Yeah, the way football's changed now. You need to be more athletic, but when we first come through the scene, as they say, it was all about, were you good technically? Was you good on the ball? And hopefully I was all right with that. Yeah, maybe I could have played forward a little bit more, but my job was to give the ball to the so-called better players, and that's how I used to play. So, and I did all right doing that. So that's the way it was. I used to get called the crab, the backwards man, this, that, and the other. So, but that's the way it is. So, you're not like anything. You're not going to please everyone, and at the end of the day, a lot of fans like players who can take 2 or 3 players on and blaze it over the bar, and they'll get a standing ovation. You know. So, there we go.
You're telling me you ain't got 2 or 3 players in your locker and then blaze it?
Oh no. Not. Well, I was going to say not now or not back in the day, but no, we used to just very just if I was going to beat someone was just a bit of a knock it past and run maybe, or just a little chop here and there, but nothing like yourself at futsal, Chris.
Don't you talk about me. I haven't got anything like that.
You have at futsal. I'm not sure about your football career, but yeah.
Football career.
Limited, yeah?
Hey?
Limited at football.
I think, I don't know, I mixed bag. I was probably playing, when I was at uni, I was step 4 football. Step 4
yeah.
now. So probably where you're playing. Is it the same division you're playing now? Step 4 or step 3?
Could be, Chris, I wouldn't know.
Well, anyway, it weren't the best. But futsal, yeah, not too bad, but obviously it's a smaller sport, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to turn this on to you to say how good you was at futsal, you know? Have you played for your country at futsal, though, haven't you?
Yes, mate, I have.
Who for?
Wales.
I don't know. Oh, Wales, okay. Yeah. I'm just who do you play for team-wise futsal?
Birmingham Futsal Club.
Okay,
mate.
What's your heaviest defeat you ever had?
Look where you're going with that. There's
No, just for the people who are watching, just so they know, my question to you is what's your heaviest defeat in a futsal game or football game?
Oh, I've been absolutely smashed before in both. I've lost.
Okay, got
8.
So football then?
8, I think 7 or 8 in football.
Okay, what about futsal?
Oh, big mate, 16.
Go on then. 16 what?
I wasn't playing, mate. I didn't play, mate.
No, you didn't play. No. But was you there though or not? Or was you in the team?
Yeah, I was there. I was in the squad.
16-0. You're happy with that, yeah?
Mate, I told you. You were trying to tell me I'm a good player. I'm a bad player. That's why I get beat.
No, you are a good player, but I just wanted to know like your heaviest defeat. That's all.
Can you, if you're gonna,
just for the people who are listening, that's all, or viewing, or whatever you want to call it, is that we're just asking you a question. That what's the heaviest you defeat?
I have been very nice, and you have spun this round. And mate, you could have asked me something else, but no.
This is a Coventry perspective, getting back on a Villa fan. You know that you've lost the game of futsal. Sorry, I was going to say football 16-0. That's embarrassing, Chris.
It's yeah, you're right. Thank you for adding to this already horrible time that we've all got at the moment. You're adding more negative.
To be fair, you was down in the dumps for about 2 or 3 weeks, weren't you? You know.
It hurt, mate. Oh, that really losing like that.
Yeah, I'd hang the trainers up or hang my dancing shoes up. Did you wear my dancing shoes that game or not?
I've been playing that season like I've been wearing your dancing.
I think a few of your players had them as well. So, yeah.
I think we were
no more matchmakers. That's what you got at futsal, yeah.
Mate, you've just done him.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Never mind. I'm sure he'll unfollow me on Twitter and Instagram now anyway, so there we go.
You're gone, mate. You're
gone. Oh, like this. No, I'm only joking. He's a good guy. But anyway, change the subject now, Chris. Sorry.
Right, we'll go back to you then. You can.
Okay, cheers, mate. Yeah, I thought I'd give you a chance, and then I'll have a go now. Go on.
Give me a nice chance. You could have said something nice, but no.
I know. I will do it at the end.
Right, we'll go back to you. FA Cup. How far did you get FA Cup?
5th round. I think it was Bristol Rovers. 4th or 5th round, yeah. We played Aston Villa. Yeah, that's when the Petrov thing come. And we lost 3-2. I think we were 2 or 3-0 down, and then we come back, and we just couldn't get the goal. Really, we should have drew the game, I think, what I remember. So that's the team was like Richard Dunn, Agbon Lahore, Darren Bent played up front. So Petrov played midfield. I'm trying to think who else would have played in midfield with him then.
Was this early, like 2010? Was this around 2010, 2011?
It would have been, yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think it weren't long before Petrov, obviously it was leukemia. Was it leukemia? Yeah, before it was leukemia, yeah. So Petrov played midfield, Agbon Lahore up front, Bent up front, Richard Dunn centre half. I can't remember who played with Dunn at centre half. Then I think
it would have been there at the time.
But anyway, but yeah, that was the furthest we got. 5th round I got to, so 4th or 5th round I think it was, yeah. So, but it was a game really. We didn't play great in the first half, and then after that we was all right. So but we should have got at least a replay really, because at that time, I think Villa was struggling like they usually do. They were struggling at that time, and it was a good chance for us to try and progress. So,
but you didn't.
No, we didn't. No, so well done, Chris. Your team won one game against us. Well done.
Yeah, and we were probably three or four leagues higher than Bristol Rovers at the time.
I think no. Well, we were League Two, and they were obviously Premiership. So what's that? Championship. Yeah. So two leagues difference. So.
And we're only winning 3-2. That probably sums it up, mate. To be fair.
No, but you won the game. That's the main thing. I don't mind winning 3-2 if you're going to win. You know.
Yeah, that's true. What about best gaffer then? Best gaffer you've ever played under?
Oh God. Probably.
Don't upset anyone either.
No, I know. Yeah, that's it. I'd say the Spanish guy up in Rafe Rovers. He was very good. Just his methods. You just wish that he could play with better players. He could have had better players with him.
Yeah.
Because his methods was very good, but he just didn't have the quality of player to obviously show how good he was as a manager, you know. So, and the way he wanted to play, and that we showed on the pitch, but you just wished he had better players, because his training methods. We used to train on a public park, so that's how the sort of sessions we had. He was very good, could hardly speak English, but his actual methods and the way he was as a manager was very good. The best manager, or got the best out of me, was Paul Buckle at Torquay, and that's the reasons why I went to Bristol Rovers, to follow him, and then obviously it just didn't materialise, and obviously, but he got me playing, like I said to you in the previous obviously comments, that he got me playing as well as I could. And then after that, managers were very similar. They had the good points, they had the bad points, so you just try and obviously work from there. But I would say Paul Buckle and the man from up Scotland was the two people who got me playing as well as I could. But I've had some bad managers, but we won't go into that either.
I'm going to assume that by somebody's comment here, is it Josh has written Hilly? I'm going to assume.
I can't see because I haven't looked down so far. Hilly. Josh knows about Hilly, and
I'm going to assume that means that he was not on the good list.
No, Hilly was a very good manager.
Okay. Yeah, all right, okay.
And Josh knows that as well. Josh is just trying to stitch me up, and Josh Helm as well. He's trying to stitch me up as well. So,
mate,
they all know about Hilly as well. So there you go.
They're all incriminating you on Instagram Live, mate. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
Yeah, right. Well, we better get.
But no, yeah, I had some good managers, or I had a couple very good managers, and then obviously I had a few similar managers, but some managers got away with being good because they had good players.
Yeah.
Or good players at the clubs I was playing at. So there you go. So I think a lot of managers, because they had good players, papered over the cracks. And then there was other managers, like I said about the Spanish manager, Antonio Calderon, up in Scotland, was a good manager, but didn't have the players to get him to them levels that you wish he could have had. Do you know what I mean? So that was the main bit. So
okay, right, we got to get on some diabetes questions.
Okay, go on then.
So, have you had any situations playing where somebody's made where diabetes is giving you a rough ride? Have you had a game where you've had to be pulled off? Have you had a ball where you haven't been able to start? Have you had a match day where it just went absolutely really badly wrong? And did you get any grief for it from anyone?
No, I've had a couple of more training sessions where I haven't trained because of the situations, waking up low during the morning, and then going from there, and then just through my own decision more than the club, just saying I don't really want to train today because of what's gone on. Obviously, waking up low, as you well know yourself, not really knowing sort of what day it is, etc., etc. So, and then there was one time, it's quite a funny story that. Well, it's not a funny story, but the way I'll say it in a minute was we played. I think it was Canvey Island away. I think it was, which was a long time ago when Canvey Island were in the conference. It was Hereford, I just remember I was staying in a room with Nicky Nicolau, his name was. What a lad he was. And I remember just walking down into the breakfast room, and I just had my shorts on from what I went to bed. I didn't have no top on, didn't have no socks on, anything. I just walked down to the breakfast room, and I just sat down at the breakfast room, and there's a few of the lads there, but not everybody at this time. And all the lads were like, Stanners, you're going to put a top on? I'm like, no, I'm all right, like sort of thing. I've just come down for my breakfast. And then it sort of then realised, the physio then knocked me on the shoulder saying, Stanners, I think you need to like go up and get a top on. I was like, no, I can have my breakfast like this. And then obviously next thing you know, I'm just started to neck the orange juice because I thought I was low. And then when I started to come round, I'm sitting there at the breakfast table just with my shorts on. And then so then next thing you know, the manager calls me over sort of thing. He said, oh, you all right to play? And at that stage, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I played in the afternoon, but really probably shouldn't have played because at that stage, it was just like sort of thing, it weren't in a good way. So that's probably... Say that again.
How did you play that day?
All right, but obviously, you know yourself, it's like you don't feel 100%. And I was just like then trying to sort of like grasp the situation or try and make the situation a lot better or try and make out there wasn't an issue with it, because at that stage, I think it was an FA Trophy sort of game, or it might have been a league game. I can't really remember, but I was just trying to make out to the manager it was all right to play because I didn't want my diabetes to stop us playing. So,
yeah.
But that was one of the worst situations I've had where I just went down into the breakfast room and I had no top on. I just had my shorts on that I slept in. And I sort of woke up, and then because we was rushing and I didn't get up in time for when we was meant to meet, I just walked down normally. But really, my mate should have told me, Christana's put a top on, but he just let me go down into the room, into the breakfast room with no top on and just obviously just shorts. And I didn't even have shoes on, Brighty, or flip-flops. I just walked straight down just with my shorts on, yeah. I just sat there and everyone's like looking at me like sort of thing, like what's going on? And I'm just like, oh, it's breakfast. What's wrong? And I had no top on. So obviously that didn't go down too well. But when you're looking back on it, it was quite funny, but it weren't funny.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. I've been there myself, doing not to that level, but I've made some weird decisions. You're like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I can't even remember making that decision. Like,
you just don't really want to like tell people or show people that you've sort of got a problem. Do you know what I mean? You just think, I can get away with it, or by having my breakfast or having a bit of Lucozade, orange juice, whatever, I can come round. But when I started to come round, I'm sitting there with no top on, no shoes, just a pair of shorts that I went to bed in. So, and then the manager sort of calls you over, and then like, you get upset, and you're like, I'm all right. Is he asking me, am I all right to play? And I'm like, yeah, I just need a couple of hours to come round. And then really, when looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have played. But there's other situations that I played it into my hands as well, because I've sort of said before, I'm not feeling great when we're doing pre-season and certain runs and that sort of thing. So I've sort of played it both ways, really. And then there's one time at Aldershot, which sort of just comes to plan. I was just coming back from when I broke my leg. Yeah. And obviously, when you're coming back from having a long time out, you're obviously, when you're working hard physically to get fit, I comes back into the changing rooms after my session, and I'm just sitting there on the bench, and then next thing you know, the ambulance people are there, like sort of knocking me on my cheek, trying to get like, obviously, so I just basically collapsed into the room, so collapsed in the changing room. So yeah, so there's been a couple of times, but luckily not when I've been playing. It's just been more around the training, sort of situations. But I've tried to stay on top of that. So
okay, so you didn't really have anything particularly on a match day or anything like that where it really scuppered you or anything like that?
No, not really. Just more for training, and obviously I've used it for and against, really. You know what I mean? Obviously on the odd occasion when probably I shouldn't have, when training gets a little bit tough, you're saying you're a little bit low, so it gets you out of sort of certain things. But apart from that, just the sort of situations at the gym when I played at Aldershot, and obviously when I played at Hereford, when I sort of obviously shouldn't have obviously played and stuff, but obviously at that sort of time you didn't want to give an excuse to the manager for you not to play, really. So they were the main reasons, really. So
did you ever have when you were at any of these clubs, did you ever have any negativity around it, whether it was from staff, players? You don't need to name any, but like any clubs, don't name clubs, but did you have any like negative places around diabetes? Did anyone ever say anything to you that you were like, I don't agree with that, but they came out of it anyway?
Nah, never had no negativity off the clubs, just more negativity. They didn't know how to deal with the situation, you know, or situations that could arise. They were very, at that stage, diabetes wasn't really that known. So even the players, you sort of had to say, if I'm not chatting or if I'm in my own little world, can you like try and get some Lucozade down me? Can you go and get the physio? So even some of the players didn't really obviously know the sort of situations. And then it was only until certain clubs I was at where obviously I had a hypo or whatever else, that's when they sort of then realised what they needed to do. But it was more when you played at certain clubs or if you played around certain players or whatever, you're just trying to give them information and just trying to let them know that if this sort of thing does happen, then this is what you need to do. So I think more it's just the unknown, Chris. I don't think no one was ever negative towards it. It was just that people didn't ever know how to deal with diabetes, what you had to do with diabetes, and then also if you was having a hypo, going low, etc., no one really knew what to do. And it was only by either it happening in and around players, clubs, or even obviously your friends and that. Still to this day, people will always say, "Oh, have you got too much sugar? Do you need this? Do you need that?" And it's just to this day, there's over, like you said, we spoke about many a time. I think there's over 1 million. Well, I think 1.5 million people in the UK with diabetes. Is that right, or is it more than that now?
There's 4
is
million,
that
4 million people.
Yeah. But then
There's 400,000 with type 1, 4 million with diabetes. So there's a big
okay. So and obviously still to this day, people don't know how to deal with it. So and I think that was like saying about the actual. There's never no negativity towards. I just even say about physios and about members of staff and even players just don't know how to deal with the diabetes or what to do. And you can't blame people for that, because if you've never been in that situation or if you've never been in and around a diabetic person, you ain't going to really know, Chris. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing that happened at the football clubs. And it's like when I went to Lincoln, it was a lot better because obviously Jack Muldoon had it, but then obviously every other clubs I've been at, Ben obviously at Lancaster, Ben Hudson, who's obviously agreed, and this, that, and the other, obviously come out with a few questions that he's diabetic himself. So obviously, since I've been playing football, I've only come across 2 or 3 people who have had it, you know. So you're never gonna, unless you educate people. But until players understand, and I've been in situations with players with injuries or what other problems, until they actually explain to you the condition or the situation, then you're not going to know, are you? So there's never been no negativity towards it. Just I think people just not knowing how to deal with it or the actual reason why you've got diabetes. That's it, really.
And at the end of the day, sport's not really designed for chinks in your armour, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not sports about elitism, you know, especially in the professional game. It's about who's the best players. So to have something as significant as type 1 diabetes, it almost like for most people, it's like, how are you like kind of, why is this here? Like, and that's why the ignorance is there.
I think, and also you just didn't want to use it as an excuse. You didn't want it if you played poorly on a Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or not training well. You didn't want to say it was down to your diabetes. You just want it to down to because you're not training well, you're not playing well for whatever reason. You just want it to be that. You don't want to be going to a manager on a Saturday morning or ringing him on a Saturday morning saying, "I've woke up low, I can't play today." That's an easy excuse. Like I always thought that would be an easy excuse to say, but I probably should have said that sometimes. I've done it more for training, but I never done it if I woke up low with games because I always thought I could do that. And it's just, I think with it is like you didn't want to use it as an excuse. So the less people knew about it, the better. But obviously people did need to know about it, because if not, if you did ever have a problem with it, people ain't going to know how to deal with it. And that's the main thing, that you are going to, even you look after it the best. And the only thing like with all the technology we've spoke about before is about obviously with the freestyle Libras now and all that. I just wish they were about when I was playing, because now I've started to inject at half time. Now I've started to inject before I go out and play, etc., etc. When before it was just a matter of having my same routine, having my insulin at 12, 1 o'clock, and I never had any more insulin then. So if I was high, I was going to cramp up, and maybe my performance, my energy levels down to having high sugars or whatever else. This is all ifs and buts that that little extra 2, 3, 4% could have helped me more than what it did. But then because I never got told to inject at half time before a game if your sugars were high, not really to test him during a game, that could have made a big difference, or could have made a difference in my performance here, there and everywhere. But that's obviously just because technology's come on so much lately that you can able to test if your sugars are going down. Like we've talked, obviously people on here won't know about Libras and stuff like that, but obviously with the Libras, it tells you whether your sugars are going on the way down, on the way up, plateauing, leveling, etc., etc. But obviously when we were playing, it was just test prickly finger, and then that was it. So it's just, I wish we had it then, because obviously that could have made a difference. But that's just obviously technology in the era you was in at that time. So it has made a big difference for me. As we spoke about, and we spoke about the lads and this, that, and the other. That does make a big difference, and you just wish you had it then, because that could have made that extra little bit of difference to me and my career. That could have maybe got me to that next level, maybe. But who knows? You obviously, but I've got no regrets. But you just wish maybe it could have been out 10, 15 years ago. But unfortunately, it wasn't.
Ifs and buts in it, mate. And this
of course, yeah.
We ain't got a lot. This is going to run out in a minute. It's only an hour. You know, you only get an hour on this thing. So I don't want to miss the opportunity for you to say what sort of advice would you give anybody? And I don't know if there's any more questions as well. If anybody else is watching.
Yeah, if anyone wants to fire a question at, carry on. So
a couple of minutes to ask a question.
Yeah. No, just.
What would your advice be? Firstly, to footballers, anybody who's interested in being a footballer or is in the environment now where they're wanting to be a footballer, and then secondly, what about people with diabetes? What would you say to them that are maybe they're thinking the same thing, trying to be?
I just think, like for me, don't get disheartened if you get diagnosed with diabetes, or if you have got diabetes. You can achieve what you want in your life. You know, you can do what you want. I got to a certain level, great, but I know for a fact there's obviously players. Obviously, there's players in Scotland, players playing in America that are playing at a very good level. That you can achieve what you want with diabetes. And it's tough at the minute because obviously with everything that's going on, I'd just say be patient, be obviously strong. If you do need to chat, you got yourself, you got me, you got all the other people in the group chat, you've got obviously any other diabetic if you want to speak to. But I just say that you can achieve what you want. Yeah, you need dedication, you need to look after yourself, etc. But the main thing about it is you need to just believe, be positive and believe. And if you believe you can do something in life, anything you want in life, you can achieve it. I've done it. Obviously yourself, you're doing it. All the other lads, all the other diabetics out there have shown that you can do it. So I don't think if you do get diabetes, yeah, it's a serious condition, but I don't think it should stop you doing what you want in life. You just have to be more get into more of a routine and be more like professional with it and just stuff like that, really. So, but like I said, with the situation it is at the minute, just stay strong, be safe, try and avoid all the contact and this, that and the other. Try and, if you do need to go out and exercise, like I have done myself, try and go to somewhere where there's nobody about, come back, stay in your house. As Boris would say, wash your hands. And then there you go. So
we're going to hear him say it again in a minute as well. Boris,
yeah, I know, yeah.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands and then like stay the distance. But just in general, just be safe. And there's a lot of, as we've said, there's a lot of selfish people out there who are going to make it worse for ourselves. And we might hear that tonight with what's going to be said. But just follow the guidelines and then everyone's going to be safe. And then we'll get over it and then we can carry on with our normal lives then, you know?
Yeah. Mate, well, we'll leave it there just because I know it's going to run out in a second. But that was class. Top work from you, mate. Appreciate you having a chat because it was very good. Hopefully,
like what we said, like if anyone needs to talk to, because obviously I've had situations just lately with people with problems, this, that, and the other. If anyone needs to speak to me, speak to yourself, just send a message. It doesn't matter what your problems. We'll try and help you as much as we can, you know. And that's the same we're saying with the guidance with what's going on. If anyone think, then just send a message, you know. That's it. That's all I'd say, and we'll try and help as much as we can.
Exactly. Right, a couple of good comments there, mate. Stanley to Eastleigh.
Maybe one day, maybe soon, Josh. You never know.